السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. From the Maqtul of Luhuf of Ibn Tawus, it is said that Umar ibn Sa'ad on the day of Ashura rushed towards the army of Imam al-Husayn, fired an arrow and cried out. He says, "Bear witness before the Amir that I was the first person to shoot." And as he says this, arrows began to fall like raindrops. As Imam and his army were taken by arrows, Imam cries out to his companions. He says, "Qumu rahimakumullah, may Allah have mercy on you. Get ready for death, for there is no escape from it. These are the enemy's war couriers towards you." On the day of Ashura, for some hours, there was a heavy collective war which rendered a number of companions martyred. At that moment, Imam al-Husayn placed his hand on his holy beard. He cried out and he said, Allah's anger became severe against the Jews when they attributed a son to Allah, and on the Christians when they considered God to be a trinity, and on the Zoroastrians when they worshipped the sun and the moon. And he said that the wrath of Allah has become harsh on my community when they united to kill the son of the daughter of his messenger. At that time, Imam turns around, he cries out and he says, "Ama min mughithin yughithuna liwajhi Allah." He says, "Ama min dhabin yadhubbu an harami Rasulillah." He said, "Is there anyone to help us for the sake of Allah? Is there anyone prepared to defend the family of the Prophet of Allah?" At that moment, Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi turns toward Umar ibn Sa'ad. He says, "Ya Umar, atuqatil anta hadha al-rajul?" "Oh Umar, do you wish to fight against this man?" Umar ibn Sa'ad turns to him and he says, "Yes, by Allah. And the easiest form is by chopping off their heads and severing their hands." Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi took a step back, went into his tent. At that point, Muhajir bin Aus told him, "By Allah, your action is very strange. If I were to be asked of the most bravest men of Kufa, I would not have ignored your name. In what condition do I see you today?" Hur turns to him and he says, "By Allah, I am at present finding myself in the position of opting between heaven and hell. And by Allah, I will opt for nothing but paradise, even if I were to be cut into pieces and then burnt." At that point, he drives his horse towards Imam al-Husayn. Whilst placing his hands on his head, he turns around and he says, "Oh Allah, I have turned to you and I have repented. Kindly accept my repentance, because I am the one who is guilty of causing unrest and anxiety to your friends and to the children of the Holy Prophet." He reaches Imam al-Husayn. He says, "Ju'iltu fidak." He says, "May I be sacrificed for you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the same man who prevented you from returning to Medina. I am the man who made things difficult for you. By Allah, I never imagined that these people would behave in this fashion with you. I am repenting before Allah. Do you think Allah will accept my repentance?" Imam al-Husayn says, "Yes, Allah will forgive you. Now please come down from your horse." Hur says, in my humble opinion, I can serve you better whilst mounted on my horse than on my feet. Allow my last coming to be my coming down of martyrdom. It is I am the one who revolted against you. So give me permission to be the martyr who can turn on his back right now and go back towards the battlefield. Perhaps tomorrow on the day of justice, I may be amongst those individuals who will warmly shake the hands of the Holy Prophet. Imam alayhi salam gives him permission. He goes towards the battlefield. He fights a courageous fight. As he comes crashing to the ground, Imam rushes towards him. He sees his beautiful face smeared in the blood and the sand. He cries out to him after cleaning his face. He says, "Anta al-hur kama sammatka ummak." You are free just as your mother named you. Hurrun fid dunya wal akhirah. You are free in this life and the next life. Thereafter, Muslim ibn Awsaja went to war. He too exhibited a perfect jihad against the enemy. He remained steadfast during the calamities of the battle until he too fell. He was still breathing when Imam al-Husayn rushed towards him with Habib ibn Madahir. Habib and Imam al-Husayn turned to him. They say, "O Muslim, may Allah have mercy upon you." Then Imam recited the verse from Surah Al-Ahzab. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ. There are some of the believers who have carried out their responsibilities, whilst others are remaining, and those who remain haven't changed in the least. Habib goes close down to Muslim. He goes close to his mouth. He says, "O Muslim, this condition appears unpleasant to me, but I give you congratulations, for paradise is now yours." Muslim responded in a weak voice. He says, "May Allah also give you good rewards." Habib says, "O Muslim, although I'm going to follow you in this path, I would like to hear your very last wish so that I can carry it out." Pointing towards Imam al-Husayn, Muslim says, "O Habib, wage jihad in the service of this master until death takes you over." Habib says, "O Muslim, I accept your will wholeheartedly." Then came the time for salah. At that time, men came towards Imam al-Husayn. They said, "O our master, it is as if the prayer time is approaching us, and we would like that we meet Allah after having said our prayers." Imam prays for them, and he asks Zuhair ibn Qayn and Sa'id ibn Abdullah al-Hanafi to stand in front of them so that they can pray the prayer of the fearful ones. At that time, as they're praying in congregation, every arrow that was thrown at Hussein was defended by Sa'id ibn Abdullah on his own self. He continuously defended the life of the Imam. He did not step back until he fell down to the ground, and he cried out. He said, "O Allah, curse be on these people as you curse the people of Ad and Thamud. Ya Allah, convey my salutations to your messenger. Let him know how we're bearing the wounds that are being inflicted upon us. I seek my reward in helping the progeny of your messenger." When all the companions were martyred and none remained except for his household, Ali al-Akbar, Ali ibn al-Husayn, who was more handsome than all the companions and the most pious from the viewpoint of morals, sought permission from his father. He comes to Imam al-Husayn. Imam looks at him with the eyes that have lost all hope. He lowers his eyes to the ground. He says, "O Allah, bear witness that surely a youth is going to the battlefield who is most similar in personality to your messenger and appearance, in nature and in manners. Whenever I long to look at your messenger, I would look at my son Ali." Then he turns around to Umar ibn Sa'ad and he cries out. He says, "Ya ibn Sa'ad, O Umar ibn Sa'ad, qata'a Allahu rahibak. May Allah cut off your progeny. Kama qata'ata rahbi, just like you're cutting off my progeny." Ali al-Akbar rushes to the battlefield. He wages a furious war. He sent a number of the disbelievers to hell. And then a strange scene unfolds. As he turns his back, he comes back towards Imam al-Husayn. As he comes closer, Imam rushes towards him, seeing if there's anything he can help him with. "Oh my dear son, Should I give you my sword? Has yours become blunt? Oh my son, would you like to exchange our armor? Oh my son, has your shield been punctured? Should I give you mine? At that point, Ali al-Akbar comes to his dear father. He says, Ya abati, oh my father, al-atash qad qatalani. My father, I want to tell you that thirst is killing me. وثقل الحديد قد أجهدني. The weight of this iron armor has taken away my energy. فهل من الماء سبيل. My dear father, you've never rejected a request from me. I ask you, is it possible that you give me a bit of water today? Imam begins to weep. He looks into the eyes of his son. He says, Ya bunayya, my dear son, min ayna li al-ma, where can I get water from today? Qatil qaleel, fight a little more. I promise you very soon you shall see your grandfather Muhammad. He shall give you a drink after which you will never be thirsty again. Ali returns back to the battlefield. He continues to fight a courageous fight. Man qadhiban marra abadi throws an arrow which makes Ali fall to the ground. He cries out. He says, Oh my father, alayka minni salam. Peace from me. May Allah protect you. Hada jaddi. I can see my grandfather. Yuqri'uka salam. He's sending salam to you, and he has a message that I should give to you. He says, Oh Hussein, عجل القدوم إلينا. Hussein, hurry up towards us. We're waiting for you. Ali al-Akbar takes a final breath. He returns back to Allah. Hussein comes and he stands by the body of his son. He goes down on his knees. فَوَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى خَدِّهِ. He places his cheek on the cheek of his son. He says, May Allah kill those people who killed you. What made them so bold enough today to go against Allah and violate the honor of His Messenger? He says, عَلَى الدُّنْيَا بَعْدَكَ الْعَفَا. He says, Oh Ali, after you, life is not worth living anymore. And they ripped my son from me. I couldn't give him water to drink when he asked. Thereafter, one after the other from the holy household of the Imam rushed towards the battleground, and they won the honor of martyrdom. Imam cries out to his cousins, his family members. He says, Oh people, my cousins, my family, be patient and show forbearance. By Allah, after this day, you will never be dishonored or humiliated. At that time, a moon-like radiant face, a young youth came out of the tent. His name was Qasim ibn Hassan. He rode into the battlefield, fighting a courageous fight. Ibn Fudayl al-Azadi inflicts a wound on his holy head. He comes falling to the ground and he cries out. He says, Ya Amma, my uncle. Hussein rushes to the battlefield. Like an angry lion, he strikes Ibn Fudayl. Ibn Fudayl protects his head with his arm. His arm is cut off. Ibn Fudayl cries out to his fellow soldiers. They come rushing on horseback. It is said that only the sound of the hooves of horses crushing the back of a Qasim could be heard. وانجلت الغربة. I saw the dust settle. ورأيت الحسين. I see Hussein. قائما على رأس الغلام. He's standing by the head of this young man. He's stamping his feet on the ground. He's crying out and he's saying, بُعْدًا لِقَوْمٍ قَتَلُوكَ. Far from the mercy of Allah are those people who killed you, those with whom your grandfather will quarrel on the day of judgment. And then I saw Hussein looking towards Qasim, calling and speaking to him. He said, "Oh Qasim, it's unpleasant for your uncle that he hears your cry of help, but he does not respond to you, or that he responds to you, but his response is of no benefit to you. Oh Qasim, by Allah, today the enemies are many, but the friends are few." At that time, the narrator says that when Hussein saw the slain bodies of his companions, he personally became ready to fight. He cries out one more time. He said, "I give you one more chance, O people. هل من ناصر ينصرنا هل من مغيث يغيثنا." Is there anyone to defend the family of the Prophet? Is there anyone who knows Allah and fears Him regarding our rights? Is there any helper to help us for the sake of Allah's mercy? Is there any helper who helps us seeking the reward of Allah? At that time, Zainab alayha salam comes out of the tent with a young baby in her arms. She comes towards Imam al-Hussein. She says, "Oh my dear brother, this child of yours has not had water to drink for 3 days. Ask the enemy if they'll give him water." Imam al-Hussein takes the young child in his arms, looking at his small lips which are parched and cut, looking at this tongue that is shivering and quaking, but no sound comes out of this young throat. No milk has he had for 3 days. No water has he drunk. Imam al-Hussein, caressing and kissing the child, walks into the middle of the battlefield. The enemies see that Hussein has not come to fight. He has no sword in his hand. He has no shield in his hand. He's come with something within his abba. Imam al-Hussein uncovers this young child. He lifts him towards the sky. He says, "Oh people, you killed my companions. Oh people, you killed my friends. You have killed my household. And now only this infant remains, which is wailing for water. Give him some water and quench his thirst." As Imam was uttering those words, Umar ibn Sa'ad sees that his soldiers are beginning to change their opinion. They're talking to one another. They're asking whether or not they actually came to kill a 6-month-old child. Umar ibn Sa'ad turns towards the best of his archers. He says, "Hurmala, silence the words of Hussein." Hurmala takes a 3-pronged arrow. He fires this arrow towards the direction of Imam. As Imam is speaking, this arrow penetrates through the neck of Ali al-Asghar and it enters into the arm of the holy Imam. At that point, it is said that Imam placed his hands below the wound. He took the blood and he threw it towards the sky. He said, "Oh Allah, I complain to you about what is happening to the son of the daughter of your Prophet." At that point, when no one remained, Imam al-Hussein became extremely thirsty. Together with Abbas, they mounted their horses, they rode into the midst of the battlefield. The enemy separated Imam al-Hussein from Abbas, and Imam returned back to the camp. Al-Abbas rode towards Furat. He split the enemies like a sea. As he reaches the Furat, he comes down from his horse. He takes the water skin and fills it. Not once did he even contemplate drinking water whilst his master was thirsty. He places the water skin around his neck. In one hand is a sword, in another is his flag. Umar ibn Sa'ad cries out to his people. He says, "Oh people, I tell you, if Abbas goes back and he gives water to Hussein. You shall all be taken to kill. You shall all be killed, O people. Ensure that whatever you do not allow Abbas to return back to Hussein with water. Al-Abbas sees that the enemies began to gather in the midst of the battlefield. So he takes a different path of palm trees and weaves his horse through the palm trees. Any individual who comes and stands before him is doomed towards hellfire. Then one man hears the hooves of the horses of Imam al-Abbas coming towards him. He hides behind a palm tree. As Imam al-Abbas's horse comes closer, he raises his sword towards the sky. He brings the sword crashing down onto the right hand of Abbas. He severs the right hand of Abbas. Abbas's sword alam fall to the ground. Abbas cries out not in pain, but in encouragement to his own self. He says, Wallahi in qata'tumu yamini. By Allah, if you sever my right hand, inni uhami abadan an dini, I will forever protect my religion. Wa an imam sadiq al-yaqini, I will protect this truthful imam. Najlun Nabi al-Tahir al-Amini, the grandson of the truthful Imam, the truthful Prophet. I shall protect him with my arms. As he rides his horse, another man takes another palm tree as cover. As Abbas's horse gallops past, he raises his sword to the sky. He severs the left hand of Abbas. Abbas has no hands to defend himself, with a water skin around his neck, controlling his horse with his knees. One man stands in front of Abbas with an iron mace, an iron pole. As he sees Abbas's horse move towards the right, he moves. As he sees it move towards the left, he moves. Finally, when Abbas approaches him, he raises the iron mace to the sky and he hits the forehead of Abbas, breaking his forehead. Abbas comes falling to the ground. His body is covered in arrows, that his body doesn't touch the ground. He comes falling to the ground. I ask you, what happens to a body if it's full of arrows? When it hits the ground, the arrows penetrate further into the body. At that point, an enemy comes with an arrow. He shoots the final arrow and it pierces the water skin. It is said that Imam al-Husayn, preparing for battle now, moves towards the battlefield. A man from Bani Daram throws an arrow towards Imam al-Husayn, which cuts him beneath the neck. At that point, Imam gathered the blood. The narrator says Hussein challenged the enemies to come to fight with him. Whoever came forward to confront him was sent to hell by Hussein's hand. It continued until he killed many of them. Then he cried out and he said, "O people, let it be known to you, martyrdom is better than accepting disgrace, and humiliation is better than burning in the fire." One of the narrators says, "By Allah, I have never seen a man who has lost his family members and companions and bearing the sorrow of all calamities, yet showing so much courage and bravery on the battlefield." The enemy continuously launched a collective attack on Imam al-Husayn. He responded to all of them, and as a consequence of which they fled from him. Sometimes they would attack him in a crowded fashion on one flank. Imam would scatter them, and then he would return back to the camp and call out and say, "La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim." The narrator says Imam fought continuously until the time when the enemy came between him and the women folk. They separated him from his women. The Imam shouted out, he says, "Waylakum ya shi'ata ala Abi Sufyan. Woe be unto you, O followers of ala Abi Sufyan. In lam yakun lakum deen, wa kuntum la takhafun al-ma'ad, fakunu ahraran fi dunyakum." O people, if you have no religion, then at least be free in this world of yours. Shimr turns to him and says, "O son of Fatima, what are you saying? Hussein says, I say that I'm fighting you and you are fighting me. It's of no fault of these women. So until I'm alive, tell these rebels, these renegades and unwise people not to disturb my family. Shimr says, this is your right, O son of Fatima. So instead of retreating back to Umar ibn Sa'ad's tent, they came and they attacked the holy Imam from behind. Imam was now being attacked from one side in the front, attacked from the back as well. Imam began to fight from all directions, slowly taken by weakness. Imam halts for a moment to take rest. A stone is thrown by the enemy on the forehead of the Imam. Imam begins to bleed from his forehead. He wraps a piece of material around it, and then a three-pronged arrow is hit towards the chest of Imam. Imam cries out. He says, Bismillah wa billah wa fi sabilillah wa ala millati Rasulillah. Imam raises his head towards the sky. He says, Oh Allah, you know these people are killing a man who is the only son of the daughter of your messenger on this earth. At that time, Imam al-Hussein pulls out the arrow, goes back towards his tent. The enemy begin to advance step after step, coming closer towards Hussein like vultures. Imam goes back to his tent. He asks, Oh ladies, give me an old cloth that I may tear it and then wear it as an undergarment, so that they may not uncover my body after they kill me. A tight shirt was brought. He said, not this, because this is a disgraceful dress. Then he takes an old cloth, he tears it, he wears it underneath his outer garment. Then he says, give me some old trousers that I may wear them, so that maybe when they kill me, they will have mercy on me and see no value in what I wear. Maybe they will not strip my legs from this covering. At that time, the narrator says, Zainab rushed out of her tent. She cries out and she said, Oh my brother, oh my leader, oh my household, I wish the sky had fallen on the earth. I wish the mountains had come down on the plains. Shimr cries out to his men. He says, Oh people, what are you waiting for? Come and attack Hussein. One individual comes and fights Imam al-Hussein. He inflicts a wound. Imam comes crashing to the ground. Imam is now sleeping with his back on the ground. With a little energy that the Imam recuperates, he sits up again. A man comes towards Imam al-Hussein. He puts his sword into the chest of Imam. Imam falls back to the ground. Again after a while, Imam turns on his side. Imam sits up again. A man comes from behind. He hits Imam with a spear. Imam comes falling to the ground. Imam begins to bleed from his wound. He turns around. He lifts the blood in his arms and his hands. He puts it on his white beard. He says, Oh Allah, I'm going to you in a fashion where my beard will be dyed in my blood, whilst my rights have been violated. At that point, Umar ibn Sa'ad says, Oh people, I ask you, bring relief to Hussein. One by one, the enemy would come close to Imam al-Hussein. Imam begins to ask Hilal, who comes to him. He says, Oh man, at least give me some water before you kill me. He turns to Imam al-Hussein and he says, Oh Hussein, you shall burn in hellfire before you're given water. He comes close and he inflicts a wound on the arm of Imam al-Hussein. One by one, these enemies, as they came closer to Imam al-Hussein, as they unsheathed their sword, they saw the same face that the Prophet would kiss. They would say, you see the same beard that the Prophet would caress and the hands of Ali would caress. They remembered that this was the son of Fatima. They began to shiver and quake with their swords and they would return back. Another man would come wanting to shoot an arrow on Imam, But as he comes and he sees the neck that he's aiming for, he remembers that this is the neck that Rasulullah would kiss. Imam al-Husayn in his final breaths would recite in Quran, asking the enemy for water. It is said by some at that time, no enemy could come forth to Imam. So they encircled the Imam, waiting. Who has the courage? Who has the most evil of hearts? Who has the hardest of hearts to come down on Hussein? Shimr comes closer, riding on horseback. فنزل على صدر الحسين. He comes down from his horse. He sits on the chest of Hussein. He takes out a dagger. He says, bear witness. He says, bear witness in front of Yazid that I sat on the chest of the son of the daughter of the Prophet. And as he asked me for water, I kept him away from water. Bear witness in front of Yazid that I unsheathed my dagger and that I put it on the neck of Hussein. Shimr died. Shimr takes out his dagger, he puts it towards Imam's neck, and the dagger begins to move. A cry is given. Allah, قد قتل الحسين. Allah, قد ذبح الحسين. He holds Imam's hair in one hand, a dagger in the other, and then Imam is reciting, he severs the head.